Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Franchise Entrepreneur. And today I'm going to talk to you about how to succeed in a recession, because that is exactly where we are heading from the coronavirus, as I've discussed on previous podcasts. So how do you succeed in a recession? Now, I've been through one recession before in regards to running a business. And it taught me a lot of lessons that I'm going to apply to this recession, although I believe this recession is going to be a lot deeper. But some of the methods and opportunities and basically tactics that I used in 2008 and learned in 2008, I think will be just as applicable for this one. So I've got about 15 things here that I'm going to briefly discuss with you. So starting from one. Now, number one, do the basics first. Right? Sounds obvious, doesn't it? But the basics are, don't chase shiny pennies. Look at what you've actually got and how you can improve on it. So know your figures. Know them inside out. What your costs are. Your payroll. Your GPs. Get back to scrutinizing every penny and expense, and you'll be surprised on how much you didn't know about your business by simply just going through all your direct debits, all your expenses, all your payroll, and you'll be surprised on how much there that you can cut back on without having any real impact on your frontline operation. Now, I understand this part is not very inspiring. It's not very exciting. It's not very interesting. But by doing this, you'll give yourself a stronger foundation to build your business from. And it's very understandable, but also surprising that how many business leaders lose touch with their everyday running of their business and the nuts and bolts of it. This is about reconnecting and making sure that your costs are completely nailed down and completely in control. It's the boring part of it. In fact, probably 1 to 7 of all of these, this list that I'm going to give you are not the most inspiring ones, but they are the nitty gritty that you've got to get down to. So know your figures, get back to the basics, don't chase a shiny penny. And what I mean by the shiny penny is don't go off into a tangent into different directions at this point. Okay, number 2, be lean. It's all part of number 1 as well. So once you know all your figures, it's now about being lean. We all carry fat, right? It doesn't matter whether you believe your business is pretty lean anyway. I can guarantee you we are all carrying fat. I know that my business does. And quite often it's because, we're looking to grow. We're looking to do this. So therefore I want to keep that kind of resource there in case this happens or in case we expand into that. This is not the time to be carrying that resource now. So don't carry fat. Quite often we carry it just simply because we can. So right now you can't carry that. You need to cut that back. So make the difficult decisions early. And when I say the difficult decisions, I'm afraid I am talking about staff. Now, at the moment, we're furloughing staff. But what happens when that ends? You've got to be now thinking, well, okay, look, who do I need? Who is absolutely essential to the business going forward? These are difficult decisions about staff numbers. But can you do more with less? Again, you're going to be surprised about what you can do over a short period of time. Let's just say the next 12 months. You don't want to carry that fat. But at the same time, some of the cuts that you might be making, some of the reduction in staffing will give you a short-term boost and your productivity will go up in terms of the staff that remain. They will be doing more with less. You'll be doing more with less. And it's also important to be looking at your own schedule. Can you get up that extra 2 hours early in the morning to do a job that someone else was doing? to make yourself more productive as well. It's not just about your staff, it's about yourself as well. Take a good look at yourself and how you're operating and how you can be more productive. I'm certainly looking at how I've worked in the past while still maintaining my family life as well. Now, some of these things might not be sustainable over the long term, i.e. over 12 months, because what you will suffer is then burnout, not just of you, but of your staff as well. And, their productivity will start to drop. But certainly over a short period of time, i.e. 6 to 12 months, when you really need to be lean, you can do this. Number 3, embrace technology. Now, what we've seen with COVID-19 is that, a lot of people working from home have embraced technology like Zoom, staying in touch with other staff members, with other employees. Don't go back to the old ways. Keep on embracing it. Look to see if you can improve on that. Remote working, possibly, say, in my respect, CCTV in all your stores, being able to access them so you can keep an eye on some of your remote stores, and then have Zoom as the backup for meetings with your branch managers. So you don't have to visit so much, so you can cut back on your travel expenses and things like that. All of those things, that you're doing now, keep on doing them and expand on them when it goes back to more normality. Number 4, decide early who your key workers are and who is going to be at your side and who are going to be the obstacles, because we all have them. We all put up with staff members who are maybe less engaged with the business's values and strategies. And we put up with them because they bring other things to the table. Well, this is now not the time to have people in your team who are obstacles, who are non-believers. You've got to have people around you at this moment in time that are ones that are not going to suck the life out of you or those around you. They've got to be 100% by your side and believe in what you are doing, because you just can't waste the time on them. You can't waste your time in debating with people and trying to persuade them of your vision and what you're trying to achieve. You've got to have people around you who are absolutely engaged and believe in what you're doing. That's not to say that they won't have different opinions, but if you've got someone that is always, we all have it, that person is always the negative one, is always the one that needs a lot of persuading. You can't be doing with that now. You've got to have people who are really complete believers in what you're doing. So those ones you need to highlight, and the ones that are not the bad apples. In any other normal situation, they would be perfectly fine for their job. But in this circumstances, they've got to go. Number 5, communication. It's essential that everyone knows their role and why you are doing what you are doing, and not just your senior management, but also the people on the ground. They cannot be disengaged from what you're doing. They have to know why you are doing what you're doing and what your plan is. Obviously you can't give them all of the details, but they need to know enough to understand why you're scaling back in certain areas and spending money in other areas and doing what you are doing. So you've got the tools now. You've got your Zoom, you've got your ability to be able to communicate on a regular basis with people. So do it. We're trying to improve our communication because it's not been good enough in the past, and that a lot of that comes from me. So I'm having to change the way in which I communicate with people as well. So again, we've got to improve on that. You've got to, and by communicating, by the way, you're able to move quicker. You'll be able to get things done quicker and get the buy-in from your managers and your store managers and your staff to be able to make changes that you need to do quicker. So number 6, marketing. A lot of people said it in the past. I've seen it, what's happened in the past with recessions. One of the first things that gets cut back on, as is office admin. Well, you can make some tweaks to your office admin and things like that. And then generally there is some wastage there and some fat there that you can cut back on. But it's also the heart of your business as well, because they carry out functions that the business needs in order to operate efficiently. But marketing, whilst others are cutting back, you should be looking at how you're spending your money, absolutely how you're spending it and where you're spending it, and identify where you can spend that marketing budget and increase that marketing budget, which will have an effect on your bottom line. Don't cut back on it, just redistribute it. And it could well be that, you may not need internal resources, but more external resources, or the other way around. But certainly your marketing strategy needs to be addressed and changed, but certainly not cut back on. Now, number 7, training. Again, something that probably gets ignored a lot, but is really important. Your business is changing, and you need to be training people to the new procedures, the new processes that you're implementing, and potentially the new opportunities. So training is really important. Again, use the new technology, or not the new technology, but the technology you've introduced into the business to help you with training. You don't always have to be present and have face-to-face. You can do a lot of training modules through technology. But training makes your business more efficient, and efficiency leads to improvements in margins, cost control, etc. So don't ignore training. Number 8. So 1 till 7, we've covered what I would call the basics. If you're me, they're not the most inspiring areas, but they are essential, because if you carry out 1 till 7, then you can move on to number 8, because this is now where it becomes more interesting for people like myself. But if you don't do 1 till 7, 8 to 15 become a lot more difficult. So number 8, now get creative. So you've done the basics. Now it's about building your strategy. Now, part of your strategy was 1 till 7. But now you've done 1 till 7, you've got the strong foundation, so now you can plan for the future. So in every recession, there are huge opportunities. Know what you are looking for from this. So you need to know what the opportunities are that you're actually looking for, so they don't pass you by. So for example, for my business, the opportunities that I'm going to be looking for is collaborations. Are there opportunities to merge or buy competitors or businesses that I feel will do well in this recession? Franchising opportunities, virtual kitchen. Who's looking for virtual kitchens? What kind of businesses can I target that are going to be interested in virtual kitchens? So I know what I'm looking for. So you need to be clear on what it is that you're looking for in terms of the opportunities. What products that you're potentially looking to create. Are you just looking to create through organic expansion, or are you looking for franchising? Is it through products? Is it through new niches, acquisitions, collaborations, referrals, etc., etc.? So number 9, identify those opportunities early. Don't just do it willy-nilly. Oh, it just happens. It's just landed on your desk. You've got to be looking for this. You've got to be thinking about this very, very early, and then execute it. There's no point in just talking. This is now about taking a few risks and actually being ballsy. So you're into the interesting part of your strategy now. Be ballsy, take some risks at this point. Be proactive, and don't wait for it to be perfect. You've heard the saying, and I think Rob Moore uses it. Well, he does use it all the time. Start now, make perfect later. Well, this is a perfect opportunity for you to now implement this. Don't wait for it to be perfect. If you've been thinking about franchising, don't wait for it to be perfect. Do it. make some ballsy statements, make some ballsy decisions. So number 10, be visible and vocal, get social. And what I mean by that is don't ignore your personal branding and what you're doing on your social media for both your business and for yourself. Now, I know that's part of your marketing, but personal branding, doing networking, be social, be on LinkedIn, make comments on other people's posts, join Facebook groups that are relevant to you, be visible, do your videos, be out there yourself personally, because people will be looking to you. If you're looking to expand, they need to know about you. They need to be familiar with you. They need to know what your values are and what you stand for. And they can only know that if you're visible. So don't ignore that. Get out there and do your networking. Do more networking at this time, because that's where you're going to get referrals from. That's where you're going to meet people. And that's where opportunities lie. Tell the world you exist. There's no point in doing all this good stuff and not telling people about it. Tell them what you're doing. Tell them what you're looking for. Tell them what you want. Tell them what your values are and who you are. Okay, number 11, collaborate. You don't always have to have cash in the bank in order to expand and to implement the plan or strategy that you're looking for. Quite a lot of us don't have cash reserves. So what's the alternative? Well, collaborations are really important, and they're going to be even more important this time round. So let me give you an example. One of the businesses that I've highlighted that I believe will do well in a recession are coffee shops, because they done well last time, and I believe they will still do well this time. So I don't have the money to go and either one, start a new brand from scratch, but also to buy an existing one. So I'm looking to collaborate. So I found a brand to collaborate with. And how I'm doing that, if I'm not offering them money for an equity stake in it, I'm offering them my expertise, and my expertise is in franchising, which they know nothing about. So the deal is I'm going to help them expand their business through franchising, and I will take an equity stake in that franchising element of the business. Look at what your skills are and see how you can collaborate with other businesses by using your expertise. So number 12, think outside the box. Obviously a lot of people say that on a regular basis, don't they? But this is now really the time to be looking at that. Let's have a look at what's happened over this period of the virus. Look at how businesses have reacted to it. Look at how businesses like Brewdog went into hand sanitizers. Look at how Leon are now doing meal prep. There's hundreds of examples of independents doing different things to keep revenue running through the business. Look at what you've done. So learn by what they've done, but also look at what you've done or didn't do. And rather than see those as short-term measures to just get you through that period, look to see whether you can expand those into a viable long-term product, taking it forward. So, for example, Leon might look at that and say, well, actually, look, meal prep is now the way forward for us. We want a meal prep arm of our business. And it isn't just something that we've just done to get through this COVID-19 virus. They've now maybe created a product there that they can take forward. So look at what other people have done. Look at what you've also done in that period and see whether, if you've done something similar to, say, Leon, if you're in restaurant side, see whether you can keep that and expand on that and make it more of a viable product and service going forward. So you've created something new there from your existing business. It's pivoting. But let's see whether you can create any additional income streams from that for the long-term viability of your business. So number 13, make sure your plan is updated. Circumstances change all the time, and particularly over this period, because this COVID-19 is almost like a reoccurring issue. There could be intermittent lockdowns over the next 12 months. maybe even longer until there's a vaccination, and how successful will that vaccination be. It's not about being negative, but what it is about having a long-term plan and keep on updating it for the changes that happen, because it's a very fluid situation. So number 14, speed. How important is speed? You've got to be quick. The faster you are, the less likely you are to die, basically. Speed is massively important. And if you've done 1 to 8 in this section, then you're lean, you're communicating quicker, you're able to make quicker decisions, you'll be able to take advantage of opportunities when they present themselves a lot quicker than some of your competitors will, and then you'll thrive through that. You'll be quicker to react to the market. So number 15, keep on top of all your key result areas, your key income creators. They are your bread and butter, and don't forget that. It's very tempting to, once you've done 1 to 8, you then forget about them. But within 1 to 8, there is your key result areas, the ones that give you your revenue. Yeah, keep on top of those. Make sure that they are continually giving you what you need. So number 16, you've done all of the other things. You've got your strong foundation, you're leaner, your costs are lower, you've pivoted, you've got collaborations, you're networking, you're expanding. Then what? Okay, number 16 is now you consolidate. So you've done all of those things. It's now about making what all of the changes that you've done and implemented is now consolidating around those, making them better, making them more perfect, and growing them. It's not now about continually adding new things to it. It's now about that consolidation. Spinning too many plates at this point, you could be over expanding and over stretching yourself. Because remember, you've become lean, you've reduced your overheads. You can only keep doing that for a certain period of time before you then hit burnout, not only of yourself, but of your staff as well. And you hit a brick wall. So now it's about consolidating around all of the things that you've done. And absolutely, again, come back to number 1, don't chase the shiny penny. Very tempting at this point to go, oh, I'm going off in a different direction there, I'm going off in that direction there, and you lose focus. Stay focused, consolidate at this point, and grow and keep investing in the things that you are doing well now. And take market share, grow your market share. So that's your plan over what I would say will be a 12-month plan. Then what do you do at the end of that 12-month plan? Well, you repeat 1 to 15 or most of those items in there. So you repeat over that period. You've consolidated. You've got those areas all perfect and working smoothly. You're growing. You can then go into your next 12 months and repeat the same things. Re-look at your costs again. It might be at this point, because you've made all the tough decisions and you've done all the right things over the last 12 months, you can now look to put more staff in, because at that point you've pushed your resources probably to the limit. Now's the point where you start reinvesting that money back into it, putting more additional resources in there in order to go again and do 1 to 15 again. Repeat. So that's my 16-point plan for thriving in a recession. Hope you found that interesting. Please do join me again for the next episode. Please leave some reviews on my social medias and also on my podcast. And I will be, as I said before, expanding on these podcasts to doing 3 a week. And please keep on tuning in. So I'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.